we are kicking off our first conversation. As promised, we're going to pop the QR code up on the screen so that you can all submit your questions. Make them hard, because these panelists tend to get an easy ride. Let's give them the hard questions. So, I'm just going to check it's going to come up. So the session itself will be hosted by a known voice in the industry. I'm sure you have heard from him before, an expert who is opinionated and can really hold these panelists to task. They will be exploring the evolving strategies that will be redefining B2B travel as we look forward. So without further ado, we will introduce to the stage Hotel Distribute CEO, Alex Gisbert.
Good morning, everyone. Guys, if I can have you on stage, we'll keep it going. Very good. So this is different, sitting here, a bit Jimmy Kimmel. Welcome, first of all, to the greatest football club on earth. I have been a season ticket holder for many, many years, and I was here for the first ever game, Mbappe's debut earlier on this year, and we're all very, very lucky to be here. And also welcome to CONX. Thank you, Pedro. Thank you, Luisa. Thank you all of the team for having us today. It is my job, apparently, according to the organization, to thank the sponsor of this session, the fantastic legends at Hotel Distribute, sponsors of this business. And I was asked to mention them, which I have no problem doing so at all. But let's get into what we're really here for. What we have on stage right now is what I think CONX and the whole content team have identified as, frankly, some of the most spectacular, fastest growing B2B businesses in our industry. And if they're on stage here today, it's because, frankly, guys, we've recognized you as, you're doing an amazing job, fastest growers, certainly in the 250 million GMV plus type space. I'm convinced there are other businesses here today, sitting in the crowd, that are also doing over 250 million GMV. And I'm sure you're growing very well. Make sure you come and see us at the end. We'll get you up here next year and make sure that you're recognized. But thank you, guys. It's my job today to try and extract a little bit of that. What is it that they're doing differently? Why are they growing so fast? What's the magic? What's the secret sauce? Let's try and get some more out of them so that we can all learn. And I know there's an awful lot of leaders of our industry in the crowd today. We are joined by, from the end to here, by Dor, CEO of MIZE, Tej, VP, thank you. By Tej, VP of TRAVELOKA Partners Network, and interestingly, formerly VP of Travel at TikTok. We are joined by Faisal, CEO of IOL, and Felix from the Emerging Travel Group, CEO. Okay, guys, so you've done really well. It sounds like you've got incredible momentum. Let's start with you, Dor, and work our way through the panel. You've outpaced the market, but if you look back now over the, sort of the last 2-3 years, what do you think, what are the really hard decisions that you had to make that perhaps the others haven't made, and that's why you're outpacing the industry growth?
Yeah, thank you for that. But before I do, I heard that you're killing it as well in Hotel Distribute. So maybe next year we'll switch places. I'd love to try that sometime.
Thank you very much.
But with regard to your question, I think, you sent us a question in advance, right? So I spent some time thinking of it. And I can't really point out one specific difficult decision that we made that was really meaningful. I think that the success of the business from the idea stage 10 years ago to where we are now is based on probably hundreds of difficult decisions. By the way, some were super meaningful and some didn't have any value into them, right? But if I really need to point out something, just to be cooperative with the panel, right? So I'll say that it's the decision to invest always in new ideas, in projects that you will define as high risk with no clear ROI. Now, it's difficult because there's never enough time, attention, right, and development resources. But I do believe that when I look back, those decisions to invest in things that are more of a high risk created the success of the company, and they became really, really meaningful of what we are today.
Tej, would you agree? High risk investments?
Slightly different, I would say. We started out as an online travel agent. We built a flight business first. And over the period of time, I think what works for us is we chose depth over breadth. So we focused a lot on local insights. So when we built our B2B business, we had insights that actually worked for the end customer. So just a small example, less than 5% of Indonesia has credit card adoption. Indonesia also has multiple other payment methods that are very highly adopted. So we built a pay later product, which actually gained a lot of traction and helped us build these insights into our B2B business as well. So I would say localization is what worked for us, and then building that depth over time is the decision we took versus breadth.
Faisal, your business has been an incredibly good story over the last few years. What are the hard decisions for a business like yours?
Well, I mean, look, we as IOL been around for like more than 25 years, and primarily it was travel technology, right? So we were providing end-to-end enterprise solutions for tour operators and DMCs globally. So the biggest decision was about actually stopping to do what you've done for like 20 years of your life and actually completely pivoting into a very, very different, a very, very, very crowded world as well. Which was basically helping hotels with distribution and helping buyers get access to direct content around the world, right? So it was a very tough decision in terms of actually pivoting that and actually starting to think differently, right? Because we were a tech company. We've always been a tech company. We are a tech company. But when you then get in the world of distribution with responsibilities that include legal, commercial, financial implications and operational implications, right? It's a very different mindset, right? It's a very different mindset from where the leadership sits. Mindset for the industry to accept us as an outsider, right? Like, who is Illusions and why are they selling us hotels, right? And where are they coming from? And what are these, these specific criteria that they come with that we are not used to, right? We came with very separate, specific needs in terms of how that would work for us. So the challenge is always change. I think change is always hard. We humans, we just hate change. We don't like change. And changing industry as global as the travel industry is not easy. We are very, I think a lot of us, I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. We come up with ideas, we make mistakes. I think I've failed and I've made mistakes, more mistakes than I can imagine. But you got to keep doing that, and that's the pathway to success.
Just to follow up on that, Faisal, because we're seeing a lot of that, right? There's more than one example of that here today. Tech companies becoming merchants, merchants becoming tech companies, B2Cs. Yep. There's one big one in Seattle which does now more B2B business. Yep. Everyone's becoming something else, right? Yep. So you're one of those examples of someone who did that, right? In the same way, that sort of door went fully focused. You really pivoted.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So what drove that? Because and how? It's a very difficult thing to do correctly, right?
Yeah, I think honestly, look, I'm a geek at heart, right? So as a geek, you're constantly looking at inefficiencies within any industry or processes that exist in the industry. And I think having come from the world, and look, man, I'm an old guy. I've been around long enough, right? I've seen the world of static. They're still static. I'm talking about just pure hotel distribution here. DMCs, tour operators, static contracts, pre-buy, all of that stuff. We've been there, done it globally with a lot of our partners around the world. And constantly, the one thing we look at is the cost of getting that hotel room, right, in the hand of the end buyer, right, and the time that it takes and the challenges that come along with it. And I think, did I want to be a merchant and actually get involved? That was not the idea, but it was how we could scale and how we could solve a global problem like at our level, right? Because, and I know, I mean, look, Pedro has run a very successful business as Travelgate. There's a lot of tech companies out here. but we all rely on the two partners, right? Like you rely on the buyer and the seller, right? We got them there, we got them connected, but we are waiting on them to do their negotiations and the commercials and the legal, and then we connect the pipes, and then we start making money, right? I'm just an impatient guy. It was just like, this is taking too long. This is just not enough efficient. And how do we achieve the same outcome, right? By owning that ourselves.
People just weren't moving fast as you were, and you just said, right, I'll just do it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much the answer. Okay. Felix, hard decisions, incredible story, lots of upheaval with your business.
So I'll give a bit of context. So I joined DCG in 2013. I'm an investor by training. I used to invest in hot internet companies. And so when I entered the travel tech space, in the first 3 months, I was really, really frustrated. I said, wow, so much complexity for so little EBITDA. And then the founders started giving me more responsibilities, and I started learning about supply, demand, different components of the business. And then the founders incubated this business in the group called Zen Hotels. And they became really, really good at selling these B2B rates on B2C. And they built this crazy tech. I was like, wow, they can identify a hotelier. They can identify which rate to mark up to bar to sell it on Meta. Any trick that you can imagine, ETG built in its early years. In 2016, we incubated RateHawk, and RateHawk started working, and I really liked the B2B space because I thought, wow, everything we hate about B2C in terms of unit economics is turning out to be the other way around in B2B. And we didn't have money to grow RateHawk, so we continued this like, oh, do we do B2C, do we do B2B, do we do both, how does it work? And then over time, the founders continued playing with rates. But over time, it became apparent that we started to lose supply, and RateHawk as a business was suffering. So at some point, somewhere between 16 and 19, I made a tough decision that we will stop. That we will stop playing with parity, that we will stop selling B2B rates on B2C, even with our games. We'll stop playing this cats and mouse games. And the unfortunate result there was that nothing changed. People still thought we were pirates. You know, for years to come, we had to clean our reputation. And still today, in many of the negotiations with important suppliers, people suspect that I'm about to turn and do something shady on the side. And so the tough decision was to make that. We obviously lost a lot of ground in B2C, but RateHawk became a very big player in the space. And today, RateHawk is one of the global leaders. And so that tough decision is what has empowered us to grow a long-term, sustainable, and lasting business. And I still see today many players who continue to do what we did 12 years ago. Synthetic rates and all of the other inventions that are hot in travel today is effectively a way to take someone's rate and to sell it disguised in a way that wasn't originally intended. And so I think as I look at the industry today and I look at where we started 12 years ago, I think, frankly speaking, not much has changed. The tech has become better, but people are continuing to play around with things that they shouldn't.
Okay, I can see that would be difficult. And Zen Hotels at that time was Amoma's baby brother, right? I mean, that was.
When Amoma went bankrupt, we became the biggest pirates of the Caribbean, and it was very unpleasant.
Your businesses benefit from outstanding teams, I'm sure, and I think we would all agree here today that talent is key. But as leaders of your businesses, it'd be interesting to get some examples, and maybe you can share some of the cultural things that you do in your businesses that you think make a difference to how your team perform. Faisal, why don't we start with you?
Sure, and I think, look, I think for us it's been extremely very interesting journey, because going back to my story about going from tech to being a platform to fintech, that's something we did I went very deep into during the time of COVID. Payments is a really big issue globally, especially in the hospitality industry. And this is right at the heart of 2020, where we started spending a lot of time now. So effectively, what I'm trying to express here is, and today it's all about data and AI, right? So we've gone through a massive change, a very big pivot in the company. We're seeing that in the global industry as well. And it's all about the people, right? I mean, I don't have all the answers at the end of the day. And when you're suddenly moving from a pure tech play, which is all about, having really good engineers and architects and a commercial team and an ops team that just takes care of customers, you're moving into a very different mindscape where you are now suddenly running a global platform where tech goes to another scale, right? I mean, you're talking about billions of data points that we are dealing with hotels, with our demand partners. So it's a very different talent that you need to be able to actually handle that growth. Fintech is a completely different kettle of fish. I mean, most people, still struggle to understand where fintech is and where things are going. I mean, we've come a very long way as an organization. So for us to be able to operate like in more than 50 countries, you need the right compliance people, you need the right risk people.
But my question is more, if I'm working for Tej and I accept a job role at your business, and then I think, what's quirky? What's different?
You're so screwed, mate.
What's it like working at IOL? What sets you?
It's a madhouse. It's an absolute madhouse. I mean, I 25 years, but I believe we still run our business like a startup, and I think that's very essential.
Run it like a startup.
It's very, very essential that we are hustling all the time. We are constantly, we constantly look. We look at the competition, but we are very focused in our journey, right?
Tej, what about you? What's it like? What kind of things do you guys do at TRAVELOKA B2B to get things moving?
I think one thing we introduced was like more radical transparency. So anyone in the company has access to dashboards which tell you the KPI of anyone else, essentially. What this does is basically drives everyone like it's not a leaderboard per se, but drives someone towards a common goal. So when we hire, we also look if everyone is, when we are hiring, people are aligned to the overall mission of the company, that is to make travel more accessible in Southeast Asia. Once they are aligned to that mission, we do give them the tools to succeed. The dashboards, anyone in the company can see how I am doing as a business. I can see what other businesses are doing. This actually clarifies a lot of things. You can actually see the direction in which the entire business is moving, whether we are all aligned, whether we need to make changes that will impact us in the future. So it gives you sort of a long-term view. And the most unbelievable, or I would say I didn't forecast this outcome, that every person in the company, from the junior roles to the senior roles, sort of buy into the mission, because this is some data that they have access to, they're reading every day, and they understand the impact of their work.
Yeah.
It's very live.
Felix, what is it, 3,500 people?
Yeah.
Remote, how do you keep them all together? What kind of things do you guys do to keep those people together?
We do a lot of things. First of all, we're also radically transparent. We have a Slack channel where weekly we have a dashboard that comes with full performance of the company all the way to EBITDA. So we have a robot that calculates the virtual EBITDA, and everybody can see that. That's one. We do quarterly all hands where I talk about each of the pieces of the business in a very detailed way, and people see everything and they know that what's coming. So the good, the bad, the ugly. We have demos, and demos are more specific team reports that are public. They're recorded, and they're posted on Teams intranet. So a lot of things about context and transparency. But and all of those things, really, they're built as components of the culture to ensure that execution is as good as it can be. But as ETG grew to become the behemoth of 3,500 people, it became obvious that even that wasn't enough. So the context was simply too much for a normal ETG employee to execute well. And so 2 years ago, we kicked off this adventure that we call the business units, where we took the business and completely split it up into pieces, because we felt like that the culture of the business units needs to be different to deliver different things for the group. And so for us, matching the culture to the organizational architecture of the business is what became very important.
So I mean, that aligns with you, Faisal, right? Because what Felix, I think, is saying is, I turned a big company into lots of little startups.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that is that is the thing. How many people are you now at MIZE?
We are 100 people now, but we are now going through a similar transition, going to business units. So I'm curious to know if it worked out well or not.
We'll know in a couple of years. You don't measure these things in real time, right?
Yeah, okay. Okay, so we'll live and see. So for us, it's a bit of a new age. What I'm about to say is going to sound a bit like a social media influencer, but it's not my intention. I really believe that that makes the difference for us. So my co-founder Omri and I, we really are very big on transitioning or embedding a mindset with the teams that everything is possible, that we can crack every challenge, that we can build any product, and it doesn't really come natural to people. And it's very easy to see that because when you put people around a table and you come up with a new idea, immediately the first reaction, like the conversation quickly drifts to what won't work, why it will fail, why it cannot be done, why it's complex. And I think that over the years, because we're an entrepreneur and an entrepreneur needs to be very optimistic about it, we develop an allergy to that. So when we hear it, we immediately stop the conversation, sometimes in a very nice way, sometimes not. It happens. But we always tell them, we remind them that instead of saying why it won't work, you should ask yourself how we can make it work. This is how the discussion should actually look. Now, when you're doing it enough time, it becomes the DNA of the team. The conversation shifts. And it allows you to build a culture of builders, right? Of instead of problem identifiers, problem solvers. And I believe that in order to build like exceptional things and to drive innovation, you need to have it in the business. You need to have the entrepreneurial mindset in each of the teams.
And I think what reflects all of you, so transparency, it sounds like the guys are saying small teams, entrepreneurial, and I think that's also a factor of just the kind of pivots that Faisal has gone through and just move fast, right? And I suspect, Dor, if you had a business of 1,000 people, it would be more difficult to do what you do, right? Which is
honestly, I don't want a business of 1,000 people. I have no idea how to manage a business of that size. But I don't know, wait and see, right? In a few years, maybe.
Let's just go a bit further on the team, and I think this is relevant in our culture. I attended recently a conference that focused very much on recruitment and Gen Zs and that area. I think at the HBX conference in the Algarve, it was absolutely the main feature. But the kind of growth that you guys are experiencing, the kind of changes, Felix, you're talking about business units, pivots, taking over Southeast Asia and growing. How do you keep your team from cracking, right? There's an awful lot of people in this industry that I was talking to a business yesterday and people are saying, I don't want to work so hard. I want to move. How do you deal with the high pressure? Because you guys are pretty pushy bunch of guys, right? So how does your team cope with pressure? What kind of things are you doing to relieve pressure within a young team? Dora, I don't know if you want to.
So we are a very demanding management team, but we don't believe in burning people out. I would like to think, I don't know if it's 100% right, but I would like to think that we've developed some kind of a trust system between the company and the employees. And we believe that our duty is to, one, of course, pay them well, because you cannot do it without it, right? But besides that, we offer them a lot of flexibility, we offer them a good working experience, we offer them personal growth opportunities and career growth opportunity. On the other side, we would like to believe that this creates some kind of a sense of belonging, like that they connect to the mission. Now, when the pressure is high, and it usually happens when growth comes, you really need your team to be motivated, not to crack down, because you want them to really answer the phone at any time, and you want them to fight for things to work. So I don't think there's a magic answer besides making sure they feel a sense of belonging to the mission of what you're trying to build, to be a part of it.
Felix, in this change of business units, how are you relieving the kind of pressure that your teams are under?
I'm not sure I'm the best example of that, to be honest. ETG is a pressure cooker, so we punch above our weight consistently, and we're always running. So I think what's been the biggest kind of ability for us to deal with this stuff is to openly admit that what we're doing and where we're going is at such a high level that the standards for ourselves are very high. And when everybody understands that a certain level of execution is necessary for us to kind of deliver what we've all committed to each other on, I think it becomes an easier conversation when people don't want to work that hard or when people are not managing. So ETG used to be an incredibly family-based culture where we all have been building this thing for many, many years, and we've all had very warm relationships. But as the business grew to a large size, and when we set out to build what we're building today, we had to make tough decisions on not dragging people through the pressure. So simply admitting to the fact that this is not for everyone, and openly talking to people about it and being transparent again.
And are you recycling people? Are you saying that?
We're not recycling people. We don't think of it as recycling, but we are bringing in new leaders who bring the new energy, and we are seeing that very, very frequently. People who were burnt out in their current roles, when they had new managers or when they had more senior support, they actually delivered better. So in the past, I used to be really, really afraid of layering people, of hiring them more senior managers, because all of these people were my friends. But I got over it over the last couple of years, and it seems to work really well. So I'm pretty happy, and now I'm not really scared of doing that.
Tej, you must have seen some level of pressure at Traveloka, but I suspect at TikTok also, right? I mean, that was a pretty fairly pressure-intense cooker, I suspect, and bringing travel to TikTok. How do you, in both these experiences, it'd be interesting to hear, how do you keep people from not cracking, right?
Interesting thing is, when I joined TikTok, one of the first questions they asked me is, are you okay with reporting to someone much younger to you? And I said, of course, if they add value to what I'm doing, why not? And it was unbelievable how fast my colleagues were, some of the people who I reported to were, in terms of the depth that they contributed to the business. They were native users of the technology. So I had huge amount of respect for them. So that respect, once it's built, you sort of align to the mission and then you work. When I hired at Traveloka, I also asked the same thing, that do you believe in this is what we are trying to do? Do you believe in where we are going? And do you want to contribute to this journey? I think once that alignment is there, it sort of sets the right tone for the culture. And I saw this consistent in TikTok is any high growth environment, speed to market is far more critical than in many other metrics. In these teams usually, I'm speaking from the TikTok context, the product team has an outsized influence on the business. And one of the key criteria of rolling out products is speed to market, because you want to test fast, you want to scale fast, and you want to sort of become market share leaders on that particular product. Because of course, you know when you roll out a product, your competition is going to copy, or it's going to come out with the product as well. So the speed to market is essentially. I think once that tone is set, people do generally believe that they are part of the mission, they contribute to the speed to market, and they are very, very aligned. The second thing is, it's not always, things change over time, right? So people over time may feel a sense of burnout, or they may change how they view the mission. In that case, I think the leader should be in tune to receive feedback and be very open, like normalize conversation apart from like the appraisal season. So whenever you're having one-on-ones or even a normal conversation, leaders should be sort of trained to read the cues, that there is someone who's possibly burning out and needs a change in scope or can deliver somewhere else much better.
That's interesting. Speed to market, Faisal, was, I thought that would resonate with you. How do you keep your guys from cracking under your continual drive for speed to market?
We are a lean, mean machine, right? We are about 120 something people globally, spread across like 15 something plus countries. I forget the count, but I got a confession to make, right? I don't have an HR department, and we don't have an HR manager. I was thinking about it right now. Actually, that just came to my mind. I said, okay.
It's
I mean, and I'm hearing
nuts,
a lot,
by
and
the
I'm
way.
like, damn, we don't have one. But you know, we don't have attrition. And that's interesting, right? Because we talk about that at where I sit with my leaders, and as I said, as we are bringing in more talent, even at the leadership level, right? As the company is scaling and growing into different areas of the business and the industry as a whole. I think where I sit as a founder, as a CEO, as an entrepreneur in the company is to, hire the right talent. And I sincerely believe this, right? We got a vision, and we got a long-term vision, right? I always say this, good things take time, great things take a lifetime, okay? And this is what we believe we're doing. And don't use that line again. That's my copyright, by the way.
No, I actually wrote that down.
It's not
I
out
actually
there.
wrote that down.
Okay.
Great things. What is it? Say it again.
Great things take time. No, good things take time. Great things take a lifetime. All right. So it's very, very important that everybody we hire, right, and especially when you're small, right, every employee is critical to the growth of our business.
The warrior.
Every employee is critical for us to, the role they play. Why they coming into the company. But I think where I sit, like I was saying, just to finish off, my role is to hire the right people in the right place. I'm an a-hole when it comes to delegation, right? I mean, we push the boundaries, and when we feel that okay, it's cracking, then we will look at how we can actually, help elevate that challenge if that comes up. But it's to empower your team. You empower your team and support them with the resources, financially or people or strategies, to let them do what they do best, right? So we are very lean and mean in the sense we are very transparent as well. So like Felix said, we are on teams. I'm on teams. We have a whole group called World of Illusions, and everybody's there. And we have fun times, and there are a lot of thoughts that are shared. We are very big on AI at the moment, so we've literally got every department head looking at how we're going to look at implementing AI. There are metrics that have been set in terms of achievements of, set targets. But look, I think as you scale, as you grow, as you grow into a bigger organization, I think we learn as we go along, right? We break things all the time. We fix them very, even faster. But I think it's important, like you were saying, I think it's important to be able to really, keep that mindset, keep that vision as transparent as possible to the team so that they can actually do what they do best, right?
So no HR department, but the system for employees is called World of Illusions.
Yeah.
I understood that
Beautiful.
correctly.
Yeah. World of Illusions.
Thanks, guys. I think you've given us a really good overview of what it's like to be at your businesses. I think that's really good. Let's move to the industry, right? Because clearly, you've read the industry, you've made decisions, you've made pivots, you've set business units. You've had the experience from places like TikTok and brought it into your area. B2B is changing, right? Everyone's here. I don't know about you, but I think the people are the same, the brands are the same, but what everybody does is changing all of the time, right? And every conversation I'm sure lots of you will have today is say, just update me, what is it you guys do now, and where are you, and who runs it now, and what are you, oh, you're B2B now, oh, you're B2C now, et cetera, et cetera. Dora, a question to you, and I know this is unfair because I didn't send it to you, but we've got 3 merchants in here, and then we've got you who provides essentially a technology service. When it comes to B2B growth, where's the money now? Is the money in the tech and providing picks and shovels to merchants, or is the money in the merchant business?
The money is in, I believe that the money is in the tech, but not only to provide to them the tech. I believe their money is in their technology. Like, I feel that the industry, the B2B space, is quite addicted to headcount. So they say, next year we want to grow the business. Okay, how many people we need to hire? Now, no one is saying that that's necessarily the ultimate way to create growth, the most economical one, right? Or the fastest one. It might be. Just throwing out an idea. That the best idea would be to focus on your platform to do the changes, or on your product, or to build new data capabilities, right? So I believe that is like the better aspect of this. So the money is in everybody's tech. It's not our money is providing them tech or so on.
That's fair. Felix Dorr saying you've got too many people, I think.
No.
Maybe.
When you look at the B2B sector and you look at sort of the reach of ETG, what's outdated? And what do you say I walk away from? What are your current no-nos, and where do you think the B2B industry needs to sort of change direction a bit?
I think, so in my background, I'm an investor by training. So I used to invest in startups, and I have a lot of relationships in Silicon Valley, which I maintain, and I continue to track how AI is developing. And I think one thing that we are not seeing in the B2B travel space is the go-to-market innovation. So I think the go-to-market is completely stale. It's not at all AI-driven. I don't see any startups helping us improve the go-to-market in B2B travel. I haven't seen a single one. Actually, I was thinking maybe we should build one. But nevertheless, there is 100 AI recruiters and 100 general sales managers, but they're not at all relevant for B2B travel trade. So I agree that if we were building things from scratch, ETG wouldn't be a 3,500 person company today. Unfortunately, the adoption is much harder than everybody thinks. For a non-AI company to all of a sudden become AI first is an immense organizational and multidisciplinary challenge. And so I think this is where everybody kind of is just like sitting and waiting. And I think this is what we will be changing a lot at ETG over the next, we're already changing it actually, but this is where I think a lot of the changes will become more visible in the next 12 to 24 months.
Faisal, what about you? Police are just checking us. What's everyone getting wrong in B2B? What's outdated?
So I think I say this like, we talk about tech, we talk about the merchant model and stuff, but I think where we sit, where we believe what we're doing with an fintech company, IOPay, the money is in money, okay? And I think too many of us have been for decades.
You mean payments, right?
Money flows, right?
Or credit.
Yeah, currencies, FX. I mean, I think, yeah, like I was saying, too many of us sit there. We have buyers, we have sellers, we have relationships. Tech is obviously critical to everything. Tech is it's a given, right? You don't have the right tech, don't be in business. But assuming you have that, I think the key here is, and what we've done in IOL is we literally changed the model of reselling, right? What are we? I mean, this is a definition as well we struggle with. Like, are we technology? Are we? We were a marketplace, and Pedro said he's a marketplace, and I'm like, no, I'm not that. So we say, hey, we're going to be, like you were saying, right? It's difficult to try and kind of come up with the definition of what you're trying to do here. And I think where we've really aligned ourselves in the industry is to say, look, we're going to be about transparency, like a technology switch, like a successful business like Travelgate in terms of connecting a buyer and a seller, right? Where you don't get involved in any of the markups or there's a cost to doing that business, right? But you also provide that same level of transparency and visibility, which the buyers and sellers really yearn for, right? But then at the end of the day, you've got to keep that revenue stream still so thin that it allows the buyers and the sellers to still want to work with you as if they were working direct, right? Where we found the serious gaps was not in the way the B2B industry operates, because they will do what they do, right? There's no way you can change how a buyer and a seller decide to work with each other. And we'll provide the tech and the platform solutions and do that. But how do we make the money, the real money? It's not on the 1% that we charge on the demand side or otherwise, right? It's about how we solve the inefficiencies of the financial systems, right? And when you can crack that, I think, honestly, there's so much.
So looking forward for IOL, do you think if we were sitting here in 3 years' time, your EBITDA pie chart will come more from the fintech or the fin side than the transactional side?
It does that today, and it'll only grow. Right? So we're doing a lot of things. I mean, you look at money flows, right? We're talking about, what I always love about this industry is it's a truly cross-border industry, right? What I mean by that is you look at most destinations, right? People are look at this audience here, right? We're all here in Mallorca, this beautiful event that Pedro and Luisa and Christian has hosted. We're from all over the planet. Right? We're all coming in from our countries. We're all having our payment methods from where we come from. We all have our credit cards or mechanisms that we pay with. It's a cross-border industry, right? So there's a lot of costs for us as customers or businesses whenever we're doing trade in a country that's outside our country, right? Who makes all the money? It's the banks, right? It's the schemes, right? It's the machines behind the scenes that make it happen. And I think that is really the opportunity that we believe is what is lacking in the industry. That too many of us are just doing the same thing over and over again, fighting for that same penny to the dollar all the time. But I think there's so much more that you can actually optimize and grow. I mean, we are going big on stablecoin. I don't know how many of you actually use stablecoin in your businesses or aware of how stablecoins work, but we're looking at constantly how can we make, at the end of the day, two things for me, Alex, right? One, distribution is all about getting access to product, getting access to demand, right? For some reason, everybody forgets about the money, right? Money becomes an afterthought, right? Everybody's got this bad habit of credit, right? I don't know why people do credit, but they do credit. And it's all offline. And it creates an army of resources and time and disputes and yeah, we love this breakage in this industry, like, which is just wrong, but it exists, right? But again, there's better, smarter ways of making that happen. Now that's personally where I feel the opportunities are, Alex. That's what the industry should really be.
So really anyone here who's leading a business in this space should really have a, how am I extracting more from the money?
Absolutely.
Right? That's the question.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's a good takeaway. To finish with you on this one, Tej, you're spinning out a B2B from a really successful OTA, a huge OTA, in fact. What are your no-nos? What do you say, like, we don't do this because the B2B industry can't do this?
So I'll allude a little bit to my first answer. So depth before breadth, that is one of our key principles. And I think from that, we really, since we started out as a tech company, we built a lot of insights into what we provide to partners. And I think one thing that is a sort of a differentiator and should be followed more is the quality of the insights that you provide to partners, right? So there's a lot of data available which goes down to the transaction level. But I think what can be a key differentiator is the quality of the insights, predictive analytics, where the business is moving, what kind of macro environment is actually impacting your business or will impact your business in the future. The quality of the insights really differentiate you and what kind of service you provide to your partners.
Okay, we've got about 4 or 5 minutes left. It would be a shame to not get some predictions out of you, and obviously the pace is brutal. CONX grows every year. This is a reflection of the industry that we're in. So starting with you, Dor, 5 years out, which is frankly impossible, right? But 5 years out, what are the really tough choices you think business? And if you, where are the traps? You know, what would you steer clear of over the next 5 years, and where are you taking your business? I guess.
Our business. So we are making a lot of effort to diversify the business by coming up with new solutions all the time. We believe that to our core product, there might be a cup at some point. So therefore, we're trying to innovate and come to optimize more stages of the booking process. We just did it by releasing a new product, which is Smart Rate, optimizing the booking moment. I know you told me not to market on stage, but
No, but I think the learning there is, so what you're really saying is keep innovating.
Have to all the time. Yeah, that's our 2 cents.
Felix, next 5 years, what would you recommend the guys in the crowd today?
Embrace AI. Each and every one of you today can go and build your own personal AI agent. Literally, it will take you a weekend. You can learn by watching YouTube videos, type in NA10 agent, and you can use ChatGPT as your co-pilot as you're building it out, and you will be amazed of the ideas that you will get by doing that personal exercise for you, but you will get all these ideas of the optimizations and automations that you can do in the businesses that you own, run, and operate. I think having those ideas early and pushing your teams to deliver on improvements is what will allow you to become part of the movement and to embrace it and to continue innovating with the rest of the world.
Tej, are you on board with that? What would you be recommending to the crowds in the next 5 years?
I mean, I think it's getting harder to predict next 1 year. 5 years is a massive amount of time. But B2B space is interesting. It's sitting at about $38 billion, projected to grow at 13% CAGR. That means double in about 5.5, 6 years.
Yeah.
So there's space to grow. I would say figure out your moat. So, and keep aggressively building towards it. So I think that will be a key differentiator. Businesses that have a successful moat will continue to succeed regardless of different changes in the market.
We're seeing that, aren't we, with resellers? We come from a history of there's an awful lot of individuals or business that literally just selling someone else's inventory with very little moat. And I think you're right. I think that's a struggle. And Faisal, you talked about payments. So rather than ask you sort of what to bet in, where are the traps? What are people going to fuck up over the course of the next 5 years?
Oh yeah. First of all, subscribe Felix's AI channel. You should all do that. But no, I agree with Felix. I think, look, I don't think the next 5 years, to be honest, it's a pipe dream. But I think what we're focusing on is the today, the now. You know, where the world is changing so quick, so fast. And the three areas that we are very strong in, where we're investing most of our time and resources, where I would sincerely urge everybody in this audience and otherwise in the industry to really look at it, right, is it's AI, it's data, and it's fintech, right? I think those are the three key themes from our side. The tech, of course, is the core of everything we do. Own as much as you can. You know, choose your partners very, very carefully and wisely for the long term, not just necessarily the price game that a lot of people play, but I think AI is moving at a pace that we don't know. I think honestly, when I was reading some stat that 800 million people in the world are subscribed to ChatGPT. That's almost 1 billion people. That's about 1/8 of the population already is doing something with AI. But we are businesses here, right? I'm not talking about my daughter sitting there and using AI or ChatGPT to take care of her homework, but. And I encourage that, by the way. I'm a very big believer of that. I mean, we got like about 10 AI apps that we have subscribed to all the time in the family and myself. But I think it's important is to, look, it's difficult to predict what AI is going to do. I think start with the simple, right? Start with the small. You know, I know there's a lot of chatter out there about what people are doing with Gen AI and AI agents and agentic AI and all kinds of things. Start small. You know, and this is where you got to invest that small unit. You got to put a small unit of people. Nobody's got the experience. You can't go get an AI hotshot, but experiment and see where that leads you in the organization.
Look, you guys have been very generous with some of your insights into your teams, in what you've done right, what you've done wrong. You know, I think you've been very clear about move fast and startup-y, and thank you for your insights into the future. Obviously, we could be here for hours. So what I've done is I've given you, just to finish up for the guys, I'm going to give you some very quick bullet points. I need a one-word opinion, it's called, right? So I'll do this very, very quickly and go from Dor through to Felix. Dor, M&A?
Love it.
Tej, M&A?
Situational.
Faisal?
Hot.
Hot. Felix?
At the moment, yeah.
Potentially value destructive.
Said the investor from Silicon Valley. Very good. Dor, e-wallets?
Don't know enough about it.
Tej?
E-wallets.
E-wallets.
Good to have.
Faisal?
Must have.
Must have. Felix?
Should be built in-house.
Ah, interesting. Dor, transparent marketplaces. It's a feature of our time.
The future.
Future. Tej?
Yeah, I agree. Future.
Future.
We do it.
Present.
There, yeah.
Yeah. Felix?
Can become a recipe for bad prices.
Very good.
Dor, one word, dude. One word.
Traditional tour operators.
Sustainable.
Tej?
I think relevant.
Yeah, relevant.
Relevant. Felix?
Keep dying somehow.
Keep dying. One close to my heart. DMCs. Dor?
Sustainable again. Yeah.
Tej?
I don't have a word answer, so I'll pass.
That's fine. Faisal?
Don't be a bed bang. Please just stay focused to your core, DMCs.
Very good. Felix?
Should build AI agents.
Very good. Dor, IPOs.
Sorry?
IPOs.
Two sword end.
Tej?
Again, situational. Yeah.
Very good. Faisal?
Shoot me, never.
Never. Faisal? Felix?
Shouldn't be done on a Spanish stock exchange.
I'm going to skip the AI one. I think
You're getting stopped at the immigration, bro.
Door, retail travel agents, bricks and mortar.
Great.
Great, Tej.
I think recently have found more relevance than previous.
Nice.
Yeah.
Relevant again, yeah.
Right. Felix?
Really resilient.
Very good. And just to finish off, Door, one-word opinion on CONX, please.
Best, really.
Tej?
Fantastic.
Faisal?
I love these guys. I love
Yeah.
them. Seriously,
Too many words.
A lot of
And,
respect, and I love. No, honestly, big round of applause
Felix?
to Pedro. I mean, I've known him since he was a little boy, and look at him today. We love you both.
Felix, CONX?
A collection of the brightest minds in B2B travel.
We can only let it down from here then. Guys, thank you so much. You've been
Thank
very
you.
generous. Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
very much.
Guys, don't go anywhere. The good stuff is coming. We are not slowing down. Don't go too far because